Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Real Watchers live stream for November 21st. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Adrian.
And of course, this is the live stream where we talk about movie news, reviews, and so much more fun stuff. We got some great stuff to talk about today because this is I feel like the first full week that Hollywood's been back at work. So we've had a lot of announcements and stuff going back into production, which is nice. And if you're lucky, you can see here, I actually have Nadia from our the good channel, YouTube channel, Horror and More, right behind me, and our co-host Kevin from Movie Club.
So we aren't actually 2 views down, okay? They're just in person.
It's actually this is the first audience we've ever had for a live show before.
Our first live show. Our first live show.
A live show. We're
this
alive,
is
baby.
one tour date. It's right now in Garrett's house.
Exactly. But Adrian, how you been over the last week? What have you been up to? Anything fun you need to report?
I went and I'll talk about it later, but I went and saw the new Hunger Games movie. Just kind of hung out. Yeah, got a lot of stuff done. So good weekend and stuff. But this week I'm just looking forward to the holidays. So how about yourself?
Awesome. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. Just still settling into the new place. And other than that, not a whole lot else. So
nice.
We already had a comment come in from our good friend Zach. We'll do it live. Yes, but without the... Oh, man, what was that guy's name? I can't remember anymore. He's Bill O'Reilly. Yeah, he hasn't been relevant in years, so that's okay. But moving right in, we have some news stories to talk about today. So let's go ahead and dive right in with the first one. Very near and dear to my heart and Adrian's heart. Chris Pine has teased that Dungeons & Dragons 2 is in the works in some capacity. And he has stated that he wants to return for it, which obviously he was a great part of the first one. So this is good news.
Yeah, super cool to see that he's still interested. I feel like talking about it is where everything starts, right? Doesn't really mean too much, but it is at least the start of a snowball that could turn into a second film.
Yes, because once all said and done, the movie saw huge success on streaming. It saw great success with rentals, and so I think that's going to start pushing up what it earned. And I believe it just broke even, or a little bit more than that, when it actually kind of came out of theaters. So hopefully we'll get a sequel.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a straight-to-streaming movie of the same caliber. I think that might be the way that this kind of franchise moves, but I'm still here for it regardless.
Hey, I don't care. More D&D movies are fine with me.
Yeah, but moving right along, Pedro Pascal is reportedly playing Mr. Fantastic in Fantastic Four. This rumor has been kind of swirling, a lot of photoshopped images going around. But I'm here for it. I think it depends on the tone of the movie. If he can kind of fit into it, it leads me to wonder what tone they're going for, I guess, if that is true.
Yeah, absolutely. We know he can do serious with Last of Us. We know that he can do serious and comedic with The Mandalorian. And we know he can do full-on comedic. He's done all of them. So I think that he has the chops to do it, absolutely. I would just want to know, obviously nothing's official yet, but once we know who it actually is, then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But hey, it's still exciting news. And that's not the only Fantastic Four news we'll have today. So keep that in the back pocket.
But in true Real Watchers fashion, they are not grouped together, so you'll hear about it.
Yes. Well, this is usually I put the biggest news first, and then the rest of it's kind of in order of when it happened. So that's yeah. Anyhow, moving along. Next story, keeping it in Marvel though. Destin Daniel Cretton, who was the director of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, who was announced to be directing Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, has departed the film. And will no longer be directing it. However, he is still a huge part of the Marvel family, is still connected to the Wonder Man series that has yet to start filming, is still on track to direct Shang-Chi 2, and wants to do more projects in the MCU. This is just kind of a greater sign that they are going to be moving away from the Kang storyline, and that they've just maybe scrapped the entire film altogether as we know it.
That's what I'm seeing with all the news coming out about this. People keep saying that they're departing or they're no longer attached. I think it's because the movie just doesn't exist anymore, or it's been completely red lit and stopped altogether. Yes. There's rumors flying. If you're a fan of Marvel, I'm sure on social media you're seeing the shift to kind of the embodiment of the Infinity Stones coming back. They're definitely trying to pivot the marketing away from anything Kang related. So I think this is part of it.
Yeah, and there's rumors that they are going to be waiting to hear what happens with his court trial dates and see what happens there. Obviously, if nothing comes of it, they'll probably continue on with it, but we don't know for sure. We don't know what Marvel's thinking until they announce anything official.
I think what's really hard about that, though, is that in this limbo state, right? They're not committing. They're kind of committing. They aren't fully uncommitting. You get mediocre films for the most part. And I know Loki 2 has been received really well, but everything up until then has been pretty lukewarm. So being in this middle state doesn't bode well for Marvel. I think they need to kind of commit here pretty soon within the next few months on what they're going to do.
Absolutely.
Sliding right along, though, but sticking with the superhero themes, Superman Legacy cast Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, also casting Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen, Maria Gabriela de Faria as the Tinkerer, and Sarah Sampaio as Luthor's assistant Eve.
Yeah, big wave of announcements for casting for Superman Legacy. Nicholas Holt's been rumored to be playing Lex Luthor for quite a while. And
I'm fine with it. Yeah,
I'm fine with it. He's a great. He's really come a long way from his earlier work. We saw him do really well in The Menu and in Mad Max Fury Road and other roles. He's definitely expanded on his skills. So I definitely think he'll be a good addition to the movie.
Absolutely.
And especially because he's younger, he'll be able to stay with it for a long time.
Hopefully, yeah.
Next up, in some horror-related news, Melissa Barrera has been fired from Scream 7 over pro-Palestine comments that she made on Instagram lately. Which, it's unfortunate because she's a great part of the last two. Yeah.
Unfortunately, she's a bad person.
Well, and that's that.
Moving right along, Creed 4 announced Michael B. Jordan directing. This is awesome. The trilogy is really, really good. Fourth movie more than welcome. And the fact that he's directing is exciting as well. I think par for the course at this point. I think it makes complete sense. So no surprise there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think with the third one wasn't received as well as the first two, but still exciting that we're getting a fourth one. Hopefully he learned from maybe any mistakes or anything that he wanted to do better with the third one and creates a fourth one that's truly worthy of the franchise. Not that the third one wasn't, but hopefully that he's just kind of learning all the right lessons, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, honestly, if I were to peek behind the screen, I think they're trying to hit the same number as the Rocky films. That way it's two full sets, Yeah. So I think that's what they're driving towards, and I guarantee you we'll get a fifth one. I see no doubt about that.
Next up, Dave Filoni has been promoted to the Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm, essentially being given the keys to the kingdom for Star Wars, which is what fans have been wanting for forever. This doesn't mean that Kathleen Kennedy's gone. For those of you who don't like her, this doesn't mean anything like that. This just means that he is kind of the point man for all Star Wars projects going forward and is the one that's going to be creatively guiding the hands of everyone.
Yeah, definitely people have been wanting it for a long time. Creative Officer, CCO, is an interesting title, right? You are kind of in charge of that direction and things like that, but there are still people above him, like Garrett mentioned, that can veto things and still have kind of final say in some of that stuff. So the leash is still on, but I'm hoping that Filoni can see the iceberg in the water and steer the ship a little bit and kind of save what is already lost and bring it back.
Sure. It's going to be so cathartic for fans of Star Wars to know that a fan is back in some sort of higher seat. So that's just positive news all the way around.
Yeah. But moving right along, Mads Mikkelsen reportedly in the running to play Dr. Doom.
Your mic is having a little bit. There you go. Got you back. You're back.
Mads Mikkelsen reportedly in the running to play Dr. Doom, and Javier Bardem eyed to play Galactus for the Fantastic Four, which is super exciting to actually get a person playing Galactus. I think that's a really, really neat idea. And not an idea, but a really good version that they can go for, whereas the previous one kind of treated it as an entity.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, and definitely odd to that Mads Mikkelsen's being considered for Doctor Doom because he played Caecilius in Doctor Strange. So, there's been actors who have played multiple people before. It's not that big of a deal, but definitely hoping to go for someone new. I've actually recently been seeing Anthony Starr's name being thrown around too.
Yeah.
Who plays Homelander in The Boys, which would be a good cast. He knows how to play intimidating very well.
Definitely.
So, but moving up next, more Marvel news. Steven Yeun has revealed to be playing Sentry in the Thunderbolts film. This reveal actually comes accidentally, per the creator of the Invincible comic and TV show, Robert Kirkman. Steven Yeun actually plays the character Invincible on the TV show. And Robert Kirkman was invited to a costume fitting for Steven Yeun to be in the Sentry costume. And so he just talked about it and was like, I don't work for Marvel. I'm not connected to any of their projects. What are they going to do to me? And that's what he said.
I feel like that's that is what happened. I also feel like that's famous last words for such a point. They could be like, "Oh no, my whole family's been murdered." Like, I feel like
all the laser sights turn on from the sniper rifles.
Do you see the Predator, the little 3 dots, like?
Well, Disney owns Predator now, so hey, I don't know.
But sliding right through, Venom 3 has finally resumed production, part of the Hollywood is back to work motif that's going on right now. So expect to see that. I would imagine it's still a year, maybe 2 out. Depends on how fast they can pump it around, but 2024 at the earliest for sure. Late, probably.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the first 2 are nothing to leave a lot to be desired. So, I mean, hopefully this third one can be better. It'll definitely have ties to the whole MCU multiverse shenanigans, hopefully. But hey, like
I'm
we
still
keep saying,
waiting.
we'll wait
Go
and
ahead.
see.
I'm still waiting for the Disney Plus for when it goes to Spider-Man to have the multiverse branch out where you can pick from all the different timelines, so you can get all the different trilogies and whatnot. Now that Andrew Garfield is pretty much guaranteed as well, like I think we should just have all that. I'm waiting for it. I'll be CCO of Marvel.
I mean, you're already getting what 10% of all, or 1% of all movie sales, like you said a couple weeks ago. What else?
Yeah.
What else is a creative officer position for you?
Yeah, no, it's just part of the contract. Honestly, I'm surprised I haven't gotten it yet.
Hey, just waiting for that phone call. Next up, Jimmy Kimmel is set to host the Oscars again this year for 2024. Not too surprising, he is one of the more popular hosts of the Oscars. He did a fine job last year. Just need to stop making jokes about Will Smith hitting Chris Rock. It's kind of been beaten to death.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like the fact that we get the same people hosting every single time, I think they feel it as well. Like, it just feels dystopian for some reason. Like, I feel like I want new people and I want new faces and fresh ideas. Like when Neil Patrick Harris hosted, it's amazing the stuff he can bring, the pageantry, or Seth MacFarlane. Just like the difference was you get the same people year over year, kind of just starts to feel like the same show, and it's not very interesting.
Yeah, last year was kind of a nice return to form. It felt like the Oscars were good again. And hopefully that continues on. It just depends on who the direction team is behind it, the producers. And
exactly. There's a lot that goes into those productions. So it's not just like the host. I'm just hoping to see new faces, or hopefully he brings something new.
Yeah, 100%.
And a new Bourne film may be on the way from the director of All Quiet on the Western Front, Oscar winner recently. So very, very exciting to see that going into a Bourne film. I think the tone is almost identical. Like they could really play that up into the Bourne series with kind of the grittiness and everything. So I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, I mean, visually that film is gorgeous. So hopefully that means they can kind of distinguish it a little bit from the rest of the films.
Matt Damon, yeah,
there you go. Next up, exciting news: Tron Ares has a production start date of after the holidays. This was one of the films that was delayed due to the strike, but now they're going back into production after we have the holiday season, which is exciting. I'm always down for more Tron content, no matter what it is.
Yeah, this is cool. I'm actually kind of hoping that Jeff Bridges is still attached. I feel like he brought a lot to the previous one, so I hope in some capacity he's still involved.
Yeah, all we know is Jared Leto is in this one. I'm guessing is the starring role, but no word on Jeff Bridges yet. Hopefully he is.
Something else that Jeff Bridges could be in, Mortal Kombat 2 resumes production. We don't know what he would be in, but that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 obviously was received pretty well. I think it took a while to make its money back, but overall, like pretty evenly received, and fans of the game really liked some of the call-outs and stuff. So the second one, I know we've talked about casting is kind of being finalized, so really cool to see it resume production.
Yeah, I think it was like 35% of the way done through filming, and they're going to be finishing it up. Last up today, a little bit of news for those of you who haven't seen it yet. The Exorcist Believer will be hitting Peacock on December 1st. If you're like me and haven't seen it yet, you will be able to watch it on streaming as of December 1st.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a movie kind of news review. I heard it wasn't anything to write home about, so it hitting streaming. I think it is a stream watch. I'm kind of shocked it did make it to theaters in a sense. I know it got a lot of hype around it, but this feels like a stream for me, so I'll be checking it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it hit theaters because it was the same director as the recent Halloween trilogy. It was a big Universal film. The Exorcist is a big property and hasn't had a sequel in quite a while, so it makes sense that it would hit theaters and not just streaming. It's not like an untested property like Five Nights at Freddy's was, where it hit streaming and theaters at the same time. But even though
I think it's going to be a streaming franchise from now on.
Yeah, we'll see if they end up making the next one.
I think they absolutely tanked on this one.
I mean, I do think it made a lot of money actually over its budget, so they'll probably make a sequel. But
that's always just, we're seeing that a lot lately, where the hype, similar to like pre-ordering video games, everyone goes day of because there's so much hype and marketing, and then
it just
completely flops the next weekend.
Yeah, totally makes sense. But that is it for the stories this week. Let's go ahead and dive into the comments here real quick. Zach says, crazy to think the next pinnacle of the biggest movie studio in the world is teeter-tottering based on one man. Yep. Yeah,
my dad is a pretty important person. His decisions do affect a lot. But I'm sure he's got all of our best interests at heart.
Yeah. Way to go, Martin. We're rooting for you. Our good friend Jose, that and Jimmy Kimmel overall is not that good. Yeah. I mean, his show isn't, but I think he's a fine host of the Oscars. He definitely keeps it more classy than some other hosts have in the past.
I like Ricky Gervais. I think he's our latest and greatest right now. He just trashes Hollywood left and right.
Little too, I mean, that's more of a Golden Globes thing. Golden Globes is a lot more parodical and funny, but the Oscars are supposed to be a formal night. So it's like, I want something formal. That's just me, though. But let's go ahead and dive into the movies that we got trailers for this week. Adrian, did anything stand out to you?
Yeah, for good and bad. I actually think the new Aquaman trailer looks not terrible, except for like the 1 second that Amber Heard is in it. Madame Web, I'm kind of over already. Feels like a B movie for some reason, even though it's like high production from Sony. Chicken Run 2 is exciting, but the actual, I guess, like heartstring winner is Arthur the King. I feel like that really seems, I love events like that, like ultra marathons, and I love watching YouTube videos of stuff like that. And this feels like a great story. And Mark Wahlberg, I wouldn't say I've always been like a hyper fan, but I always like what he puts out. So I'm excited for it.
Sure. And what one was the worst one? Because you said there was one that was the worst.
Oh, probably Madame Web.
Yeah, I would say the same. Madame Web just looks very mediocre. It's just another Sony Spider movie that's not related to MCU. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be that good. I will say for me, Imaginary stuck out this week. I think the concept of Imaginary is at least pretty unique in the realm of horror. So excited to see what they're going to be able to do with that. I just think that the recent trailer was a little bit more normal as opposed to like there's like the first trailer that came out in front of Five Nights at Freddy's was completely just black. And it was all the audio, and you had to imagine what the trailer was, which was great marketing, and they should have done that for a full trailer. But
yeah, no, that is great. I think, to me, the part that kind of fell flat for that was honestly, like, the title. I feel like Imaginary just isn't hitting for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just feels like some recycled title. I wish they had come up with something else.
Yeah, I mean, the title isn't indicative of the quality of the movie. But
absolutely.
We'll have to wait and see when it comes out. It does look like it's going to be at least a little bit interesting. So,
yeah.
But no other comments. Let's go ahead and dive into my favorite part of the week, which is the movies that I watched over the course of the last week. So let's go ahead and talk about those. So up first was the 2009 film Moon. I said that Moon got an 85 out of 100, a thoroughly enjoyable and engaging sci-fi mystery. Moon is an example of how you can achieve more with less. Director Duncan Jones knows how to use the space he has to craft a story, and the performances from Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey are fantastic. I just wish it was a bit longer and that we could have spent a little bit more time in this cool world. After that, checked out the last of the Kung Fu Panda movies that I had not seen, which was Kung Fu Panda 3. I do think it is the weakest of the three, but it is still a good movie. Kung Fu Panda 3 suffers from too much filler and not enough of its villain. Its ending is fantastic, but the villain is just not as interesting because he's not in it as much. It's not that he's bad necessarily or does the character wrong. It just doesn't have the same presence as the other villains. It just feels underutilized. Other than that, it's fine. Just a step back from the first two. After that I went on an animation streak this week, and this started the downhill. So we have Despicable Me, the first one, giving it a 69 out of 100. I said the start of Universal's mega franchise is actually pretty decent. It's got a great emotional storyline and a fun villain. However, Steve Carell's accent is odd, some of the characters are annoying, and don't even get me started on the Minions. They can't be a central part going forward. Can they, Adrian?
I don't know. I think there's some foreshadowing.
Yeah, Despicable Me 2 is after that, getting a 52 out of 100. It's nowhere near as good as the first, but still provides enough laughs and emotional story beats. The Minions continue to be a nuisance and a stain on Universal, but they're not as bad as later films. It's just okay, but if you decide to show your kids this over something like My Neighbor Totoro, that's a problem. Despicable Me 3 is next, getting a 40 out of 100. I can't not give this film points for Trey Parker being in this movie. Also, the animation is pretty good. Other than that, it's pretty less than standard for a Despicable Me film and just doesn't do anything to stand out from any of the other ones. The Minions continue to be the worst part of the film, but luckily they're not as front and center as they used to be. The worst part, though, is that there's no reason for this to exist except for money, and you can feel that throughout. And in a similar vein, we have Minions: The Rise of Gru, giving it a 30. Besides a killer, awesome Bond-style intro to the film, this film is beyond annoying. It's got good animation and textures, and that's fine and all, and the voice performances are great, but this movie just doesn't feel like it should exist. It's here because money. It's not interesting, it's not fun, it's not funny. It might be for brain-dead kids, but not for me. And finally, I checked out Netflix's new movie from David Fincher, The Killer. Gave it an 85 out of 100, said it was cold, methodical, and well executed. The Killer is a grounded, real take on the assassin film. Everything feels so real, so possible, that it's actually frightening. Fassbender is incredible here, but the supporting cast doesn't really seem to hit the same highs as him, save for Tilda Swinton. If you have Netflix, highly recommend this film. It was a lot of interesting stuff, and it does get your heart racing a little bit at some points. But if you do want to see any other reviews that I have posted, you can do so at the Letterboxd with that username. I don't know what I was going to say, but that's it for the movies I watched this week.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, Moon, I'm due for a rewatch. Honestly, I love that movie. That's one of those movies I've seen quite a few times. And I love it every time. I feel like I always go long enough without watching it that rewatch is always really, really good. So that's definitely one for me. Despicable Me marathon, good for you. I don't know if I could sit through 4 Despicable Me movies in a week. And then The Killer is on my list. That's like one that I do want to watch. I was just talking to a coworker about it today. That it's really good.
Yeah, highly recommend that. I literally I'm trying to finish the top 100 highest grossing movies of all time list on Letterboxd. And there's so many of the Despicable Me movies. I was just like, all right, I'll just watch all of them, and that was a mistake. But Zach getting in here with some comments. Also, the Nacho Libre slander from last week 2 is an absurd score. No, it's not. It's realistic if you actually look at the film. I'm just kidding. You can have your own opinion. I don't like the film. Thinking this and Artemis Fowl in the same conversation may throw you into a cardiac arrest. Well, keep the defibrillator.
I have an interesting question for you, Garrett. On your scale, how far apart are a score of 1 and a score of 2?
I think it depends. I don't know.
Are those films in the same conversation, or is that a big enough of a gap that they're separated to you? I
feel like they're in the same conversation for me.
Okay.
Maybe you could give or take 1 or 2 points, but when you're dealing with the score, the range of 0 to 100, like I do, it is sometimes a little bit hard. You have to judge it down to is this an 8 out of 10? No. Is it a 7 out of 10? Yes. Okay. Is it a 70? No. Is it a 79? No. And you just kind of whittle it down to where I feel comfortable with where it is, and that's where they both sit.
Sure.
So it's not as bad as Norbit, which I know Nadia's behind me. It's also not as bad as something like The Starving Games, but I would rather watch Artemis Fowl and Nacho Libre than those 2 movies, but not by much. So that's why it's 2 points and not 10.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
Janelle, lol at the Despicable Me watch-a-thon. As I already described, was already going through the top 100 highest grossing movies, decided to watch them all. Zach, did G watch the Despicable Me franchise while being body painted as a minion? I'd like to think so. No.
You would like to think so, Zach. You would, you dirty boy.
Not going to add anything to that. That's perfect. Jose, is it possible that since you watched all those Minion movies that close together, that affected the overall score? No. I actually enjoy the first movie. I did a lot when it first came out, and I think that now that I just kind of look at things a little bit more critically, I pointed some things out, and the other movies just aren't as good as that first one. The first one was the pinnacle of the franchise, and they've not been able to hit that high ever since. I think watching them all back to back helped, actually.
Yeah, and I also feel like you didn't give them brutal scores. So I feel like, yeah, they do decrease film over film. But I feel like had that been the case, I feel like Minions, if you had been upset while watching them, would have received much lower than a 30.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, the Minions movies are not good, but they still have great animation. Like, the animation studio is very, very good at what they do. The textures are incredible. Illumination. Yeah, same company that did Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
And like their voice casts are always great. They get great actors to play the roles, and they play them well. It's just like there's just that overall feeling that they're not made for the artistic reason of making a film. They're doing it to make money and to have more things they can make theme parks rides based off of. So
yeah.
But anyhow, enough about what I watched.
Let's talk about what's coming out this weekend if you want to go to the movie. So starting out, we have Wish, the new Walt Disney Studios motion picture, actually being received really, really well. Wish will follow a young girl named Asha who wishes on a star and gets a more direct answer than she bargained for when a troublemaking star comes down from the sky to join her. This one's being received really, really well. I want to go see it. The song from it sounds like a hit, so very exciting stuff. Then we have Smoke Sauna Sisterhood. In the darkness of a smoke sauna, women share their innermost secrets and intimate experiences, washing off the shame trapped in their bodies and regaining their strength through a sense of communion. This one has won the Sundance Film Festival, a film by Anna Hintz. This is limited release. You will have to drive to see this one. This one comes out on Friday. And I didn't say it before, but Wish comes out tomorrow or tonight in some cases, depending on the theater you're at. Then we have Monster. A mother demands answers from teacher when her son begins acting strangely. A little bit of a leading title there. This one comes out tomorrow in limited release. Then we have Menus Plaisirs Les Trioscos. A 93-year-old director embeds inside a French restaurant that's held 3 Michelin stars for more than 50 years. This one opens tomorrow as well to limited release. Then we have Deep Sea. A girl strays into the dreamy deep sea world. In the deepest part of the sea, all secrets are hidden. This one comes out on Friday. And last but not least, one of the big ones, competing with Wish, we have Napoleon coming out tonight. The film takes a personal look at Napoleon Bonaparte's origins and his swift, ruthless climb to emperor, viewed through the prism of his addictive and often volatile relationship with his wife and one true love, Josephine.
Yeah, really excited to see both Wish and Napoleon. I think that's really the only ones that I've known anything about. The other ones I'd definitely check out if I have the time. But
I gotta say, I also really enjoy this section because I feel like it keeps my brain sharp because I just sight read the whole time. And I feel like I might mess up once or twice, but I feel like it keeps me, my vision to like processing ratio is good. I like it.
It's like, that is like the movie version of music sight reading.
Yeah.
It's just, you're like, yeah. 100%.
Which I used to sight read music back in high school, but I feel like, this is kind of the same. So it's very fun for the brain.
But that's enough about what's coming out this weekend. Let's talk about what came out last weekend. And we had some interesting placements here. In first place, we had The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, bringing in $44.6 million. We had in second place, Trolls Band Together, bringing in $30 million. Thanksgiving coming in third place with $10.3 million. The Marvels falling from first place to fourth place with $10.1 million. And in fifth place, Five Nights at Freddy's still hanging on with $3.6 million, still bringing in a respectable amount of money, even though it's also on streaming. So,
if you had told Marvel fans and the studio 2 years ago their movie would fall the second weekend it's out, they would have laughed at you. They have fallen to almost a comical state right now that they really need to get on top of it if they want to get back in good graces with everybody.
Yeah, looks like audiences are doing the same thing that the director did, and that's walking out of the film. So let's... But that's going to be it for box office placements.
Instead of me being detached from Kang Dynasty, I've been detached from the Marvel franchise.
Zach said, saw the Marvels this weekend. Would love to hear both your thoughts, scores, if you've seen it yet. I have loads of opinions. I have not seen it yet. I was hoping with the holiday weekend, maybe the chance to go and see it in theaters, but I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either. This one feels like a stream for me. It almost feels like it should have been a TV special on Disney Plus. That's kind of my vibe to it. So going to the theater to see it just feels a bit rough for me. But I will watch it. Like, I do have interest in seeing the film. I just don't know if I would go to the theater and watch it.
100%. Zach says, score on Ballad of Songbirds, AQ.
I don't have a score for it, and I feel like I have recency bias because I haven't seen the original 4 in quite a while. I did watch like a quick recap, but I felt that this was a fantastic film. It did not feel its length at all. Maybe a bit in the third act, it slowed a bit, but I felt engaged the whole time, and I felt the story was super interesting. There's a couple of like kind of silly parts, especially like with some singing without saying too much. But I thought altogether, recency bias included, I think it's the best one that I remember seeing by far.
Sure. Yeah, and from all the things that I hear, production design alone deserves an Oscar win for this movie.
Yeah,
for how good it looks.
It's incredible. It's really, really well done.
But that is going to be it for the comments. And you know what time it is, because I know what time it is, because we're in control of this. It's time for the Wheel of Fate. So make sure to go ahead and get those suggestions in through the comments. That is opening right now. I know Kevin and Nadia are behind me looking up stuff to torture me with, so go ahead and put those in the comments. Yep, there you are. Hi. But let's go ahead and go over the movies that we talked about last week. Up first was the first one selected, which was Bonnie and Clyde from 1967. Gave it an 82 out of 100. Said this film is so important for what Hollywood would eventually become, the embracing of new methods and ideas, the violence, and the sexuality. It's a great time with 2 great leads, and the relationship is incredible to watch. It wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to watch it again, though. I'm glad that I did watch it once. It didn't fully connect with me. I didn't love the film, but I respect it all the same. So 82 out of 100 is what it's going to get. And second, we have The Conspirator, coming out from 2011, giving it a 61 out of 100. I said it's fine. The story behind this, I feel, is more fascinating than the movie itself. James McAvoy and Robin Wright Penn are great here, but the script doesn't really offer them too much to do other than just standard courtroom flair taking place in the 1800s. I can't say I didn't enjoy it. I did, but I just didn't feel like I needed to see this movie. It's great, good story though. I mean, the history of it is actually important to know, but the movie itself, just And I'm glad that Nadia's here because she can hear my review for the last one that she picked, which is Slaughterhouse, a 2023 comedy horror movie. Gave it a 2 out of 100. Said this movie just sucks. I'm all for some camp, but this misses the mark completely and goes full cringe. Every performance is awful. No kill feels interesting or fun, and the sloth is not even that good of a villain. It doesn't look real. It just looks like a Tim Burton wet dream nightmare of a creature. Some might find this film fun, but it's just bad. Don't watch it. Unless you want to see a bunch of Instagram influencers being Instagram influencers for no other reason than being Instagram influencers because there's no story to give them.
That's so funny because I actually got a family friend actually messaged and recommended this movie to me as one of those like fantastically bad movies.
Oh, there's definitely drinking games you can play with this one. You take a shot or take a sip every time someone's cringe and you die is what happens.
You die.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and close off entries.
Off.
I'll give it 2 seconds or so, let everything catch up, just in case someone snuck one in there. And how many are we picking today, Garrett?
We'll go ahead and pick 3 this week. There's not going to be any. I don't think there's going to be any Wheel of Fates next week, just because of stuff I have going on. But we'll explain that next week.
All right, everyone. Did any slide in? Looks like maybe one more.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll add
Cool.
that last one, but then we're done.
Alrighty.
All right, everyone. Go ahead and shuffle everything up here. It's all mixed up. First pick. Stuart Little. I was really hoping that one would get picked. I think that's Zach.
Alright.
All right.
Are you okay?
That was the one I picked.
Oh. Nadia's saying that's one she picked.
Oh, perfect. Good. I saw it. I typed it. I really wanted it to win. All right. Coming up next, second place. Second movie to be watched. I spelled it wrong, but it's Santa Claus, the 1994 film.
Okay. I have seen both these films, but not reviewed them. So that's interesting so far.
And last but not least, The third film Garrett will be watching. Paulie, the Alien movie, I believe. Or am I crazy? Or is that Paul? Am I thinking of just Paul?
But the one with the bird?
Yes.
You're saying yes?
Yes.
Okay, apparently it's yes. It's the one with the bird.
Oh yeah, like the live action one.
I've never seen that movie. I didn't even know that would come up on Letterboxd. All right, cool. It's an animal week and then Santa Claus. So let's do it. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and go through some of these comments real quick. Let's see here. Nell said, highly recommend rewatching the first Hunger Games after. So cool to everything they fall together.
I do want to. Yeah, I liked Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes so much. I want to go back and rewatch the other four. It was just so cool to return to that world. It really did feel like a revival, and it was really cool to see.
And most of these are comments for.
I do want to call out real quick the absolute blatant racism that is Murder on the Oriental Express recommendation from Kevin.
Hey, Kevin, Adrian called out your blatantly racist recommendation for Murder on the Oriental Express instead of Orient.
Autocorrect.
Oh, it was an autocorrect.
Oh,
So
so your phone
autocorrect
just
is racist.
assumes you're racist. It said, hey, you're
So the
not
phone
being
assumes
racist.
you're racist is what's happening, apparently. That's great. Janelle says, yeah, and then Zach says, fuck yeah, Stuart Little.
The whole trilogy of Stuart Little should be studied. It is a wild ride.
Hey, Stuart sailed his boat so Paddington could eat his marmalade sandwiches, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. Can you imagine being another kid in that orphanage and a mouse gets picked? I cannot even believe that film exists.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well,
Also, are your parents not insane when they come home and go, we got you a brother, and it's a mouse? And you're like, yeah.
I don't do drugs, but doing that movie on like high on something would be just ridiculous. Yeah, that's gonna be it for the show today. Thank you all so much for watching. But Adrian, what have you been watching over the last week? I mean, besides the Hunger Games film?
Yeah, saw the Hunger Games film. I'm about to finish up Red Mars, my latest book that I've been reading about terraforming. Honestly, pretty dull if you're looking into a sci-fi book. It's really well researched and very, very technical, but really slow. The plot's really loose. It does feel like I'm on Mars while reading it, like it's so real, but doesn't always mean exciting. So there's a little bit of a book recommendation for you. I also did see the Please Don't Destroy the Treasure of Misty Mountain, or whatever it was called, the new SNL movie. Pretty good as far as like SNL direct films go. We do get them every once in a while, and this one was pretty funny. There were quite a few moments that had us laughing, but it's just kind of a silly, dumb movie, and they do a great job. It feels like a really long Please Don't Destroy skit, so they nailed it on that one. And then other than that, just hanging out. Yeah, how about yourself?
Yeah, for me, I mean, not too much going on. I was watching a lot of movies this week, and then started playing Planet Coaster again, which is a theme park building computer sim. So other than that, not a whole lot else. So
Nice.
But we do have one comment that came in here. Zach says, no, an Oriental Express is a top-tier autocorrect. Yes, and that is exactly what Kevin has shared. Thank you for agreeing that's a great autocorrect. But other than that, we don't have a whole lot else going on this week. Adrian, where can people find us if they don't follow us already?
Yeah, Reel Watchers on pretty much anything reel, as in a fishing reel. Oh, that's a new one. REEL WATCHERS. You'll probably still find us if you start with a W. But you can find us on Instagram if you want to chat. You can message us there, give us movie recommendations, all that good stuff. On Twitch, if you go ahead and give us your little free follow, we go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m., which is what you're probably watching right now. And then YouTube, if you want the treasure trove of content that is Reel Watchers, that is where we live and breathe. We go live every Tuesday. We also have our Reel Watchers movie club with Garrett and our other co-host Kevin, who's sitting right behind him. where they go over the IMDb top 200 movie list, and they go more in depth and talk about the film. Typically, Kevin just hasn't seen them, and Garrett has, so it's a very interesting educational experience. And those are every Friday, and that's only on YouTube. And then we also have a ton of other content. Garrett does a lot of really good video essays that he posts every so often. They take a long time to make and puts a lot of effort into them, but they do really well. And we have one that's basically carrying the entire channel right now. So go ahead and give that one more views.
Just hit over 7,000 views, so very excited about that one.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and like and all that good stuff, because we are doing our, if you're familiar with our podcast before the drive back, we do our annual awards show and kind of like our little Oscars and best of, and that'll be up on the YouTube channel at some point here. We don't have a firm date yet, but that'll be an actual like solid YouTube video for you, where Garrett does some amazing narration and editing on those videos. So make sure to stick around and check that out.
Absolutely. This week's Movie Club episode is going to be Mad Max Fury Road, so very excited to talk about that movie with Kevin here. And that goes live on Friday in the morning, I believe 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, there's Kevin. The week after that is going to be another exciting one as well, so make sure you are following us for those. Other than that, that's about it. Except for Zach had a comment. AQ, anytime you spell out the channel at the end, I hear it in a cheerleader syntax.
REELWATCHERS. Real Watchers.
All right. Kevin said he could hear that when you said that. I don't know how. Maybe I'm going deaf. My headphones
You're on
are
like
that loud.
100 volume.
Anyhow, thank you all so much for watching with us this evening. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, to go over movie news, reviews, and so much more. And always make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. We appreciate you guys so much. On the road to 150 subscribers, where we'll have another challenge, and we don't know what it's going to be yet.
And before you head out, you should definitely take note that people can hear your headphones, because you live with other people, so you should definitely turn your volume down.
And on that note, we'll end it so I can test my headphone volume.
Damn,
Have a great
with
night.
company.
And until next time, it's actually better if there's people with me that can tell me if it's too loud or not. So, hey, that's all they're here for, is just to test my audio. So, couple of comments here, though. Danelle said that was excellent.
Thank you.
Great
Site
job,
Reddit
editing.
cheer chant.
Didn't think I needed a real Watchers, but here we are. Exactly. We exist to exist. I don't know. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all next week, same time, same place. And until then, keep your eyes on the screen. Have a good one.